A Hunter in Teyvat, Chapter 105, Fan Fiction, by Azazyel. Yea, with the thoughts in her head about Ei's future choices gave me and Shenhe some space while she also went to sort out her own head with the upheaval I had brought with my arrival. And then while Ye left us alone I looked over at Shenhe and asked easily. Has your training with Ei been fruitful? Shenhe nodded solemnly as she replied seriously. Yes, the Electro Archon is a master of polearms with a different style compared to my own master who only dabbled in the style. Oh yeah, both Ganyu and Shenhe used different weapons, so it makes sense that Cloud Retainer didn't use either of the weapons. I thought as I remembered how all of Madame Ping's students in Yanfei, Xianling, and Yao Yao were well versed in polearms. Even if Yanfei didn't prefer to use polearms and instead used her oversized lawbook to beat monsters to death with it along with her pyro magic. Either way, at hearing Shenhe saying she was learning a good bit I nodded happily and then asked. So you are ready to go back to Liyue to see your master? Shenhe had a small smile and then a frown crosses her face before she shook her head and said wryly. Indeed, I wish to see my master and show her how much I have grown as a person with you helping to curb my murderous impulses. But besides that, I am somewhat loath to bring you to her as she will assuredly share embarrassing tales about my childhood. I chuckled and then I turned and laid my head on Shenhe's lap with her large breasts hanging over my head so I couldn't see her. But I could hear her give out a small sniff of amusement before one of her hands began threading through my hair as she gave me a proper lap pillow. You could also have her other disciple and basically adopted child there in Ganyu to help spread out the embarrassment. Honestly, that would make her rather happy to have you both there. There was a momentary pause before she hummed in agreement and said more quietly and relaxed. I suppose that is the case. Do you have any other suggestions to make the meeting go well? She asked, and in doing so I realized she was honestly almost nervous in how to socially greet her master a trip away from her. Taking a breath I mused over my thoughts and memories of Cloud Retainer and then I spoke aloud. Cloud Retainer is a rather formal woman and she adores you and Ganyu dearly. So I suggest we get some delicacies in Liyue along with some tea and snacks that she can have over a while. Then we snag Ganyu and bring her with us to Cloud Retainer, which will make her happy. My speaking got a little weird as one of Shenhe's hands that was playing with my white hair from my Shenhe bloodline drifted down a little lower and I felt the calloused fingertips of her hand gently dancing over my throat and I idly wondered if she was having one of her murderous impulses. But I didn't react to it as for one, I did have my aura to protect myself should her impulse be acted upon in a moment of not paying attention, and secondly, I trusted Shenhe enough to let my head go between her thighs to eat her own and likewise trusted her to give me a blowjob. Letting her fingers trail over my throat wasn't nearly as scary as either option. And in turn in the thought of uncontrollable impulses. I had these nice big breasts above my head and after thinking of the consequences of seriously taking a hand to grab one and making honking noises. I shivered as a white essence glowed in through the walls of the room we were in and slammed back into my body even as Shenhe just summoned her spear into the hand she took away from my throat. Relax. It was Makoto going back into my soul. I spoke as I looked within my soul to find Gaizong, who was wearing some kind of weird pajamas, was throwing a blanket over Makoto, who was sitting in a meditative form to recover her energy from my soul. Fucking hell. Why are there half-dead goddesses everywhere? Next, I will pick up Rukkhadevata in Sumeru, and then when I hit Fontaine, there will be Egeria and Focolars. Rii, whoever gave me this damned semblance was an asshole who didn't account for all the damned half-dead gods in this world. I mentally screamed before groaning as I tried to sit up only for Shenhe to possessively to hold my head in her lap with her spear disappearing to use that hand to hold my chest down. Before I could begin the lovely process of extracting myself from Shenhe's super strength I heard a series of loud thumping noises and then the sliding door of the room was violently ripped off its hinges and I blinked seeing the frantic look of Ei who desperately looked at me. Makoto, where is she? Is she alright? I nodded quickly as Ei power walked at me with a scary look in her eyes and then I said. Yeah, she is just absorbing my soul's energy to recover as she didn't have much time in my soul, unlike Guizhong. As the dust goddess, having cooked in my semblance's space for a good month, was able to stay out of my soul and live normally for probably a good couple of days according to her own thoughts, unless she had to use her own divinity or adepti magic. But I, seeing my head in Shenhe's lap, came to a different thought as she bit her lip and asked with clear concern. Are you okay? Is she actually eating parts of your soul or something? My lips twitched at that, and after a moment of looking at Ei's frantic face, which was so different compared to her more tame appearance, I explained slowly and clearly to hopefully calm her down. No, she isn't eating my soul, Ei. It's like my soul is a flame, and she is absorbing the heat coming off my soul, so when I am at rest or I am more emotional in a positive manner, my soul is more active, so I put out more energy for Guizhong and Makoto to absorb. The Electro Archon visibly calmed down until Shenhe, being the completely socially inept brick that she was, asked with some blunt curiosity. So when we make love, does that mean your soul is cooking them with the joy and other highly positive emotions you are feeling? Oh. That look in Ei's eyes is scary. I thought as I could hear Guizhong, being the damned goblin she was howling with laughter from within my soul at hearing that.